Page 32, Downtown. Here they're introducing the idea of creating a new section for improvising. This is done a lot at the end of a piece. You'll play a solid piece, a piece that's pretty much set where everyone knows, and at the end, that's where everybody starts improvising. And they'll just repeat this end any number of times to give each person in the ensemble who wants to a chance to improvise and play a little bit. It can be a lot of fun. It's part of jamming. So we're going to take these 3 steps. This is step 1, 2. Okay, we're going to do these one at a time, very slowly and deliberately. Let's go through these. Now keep in mind when you're going through this book, it isn't just a matter of sitting down and reading the notes and doing this. You're actually going to have to learn how to do some improvising in here and being creative, learning about how playing jazz and blues. So it's not just sitting down and reading the notes here. And this, we're getting more into that here. Step 1. We're simply going to play the music as written. No big deal. It is repeated, so you would play it multiple times. We're going to play it twice, so to repeat it once. There's not a lot to point out here. In the left hand you have the chords, no big deal. You're in the key of G major, and we're using the 1 chord and the 4 chord. In the right hand we're using a blues scale built on the G. Remember what the blues 5-note scale is? If you don't, please go back in the book where they introduce it and review all that again, because you really need to know it. These 5 notes are not the only notes in a blues scale, but we're concentrating on these for now. Let's, one step at a time. So these are the notes we're going to be using here. Actually, they're all here. I don't think they use the D natural, but it's there. And they may throw some B naturals in there. You can throw other notes in there too. You're not just limited to these, but it's these black notes, the B flat and the D flat, that are the blue notes. Because the G major scale would be here. So we throw these in here. That changes things. So in this piece, in the right hand, now they have dots, and that's simply their way of pointing out the blue notes. They're the flat notes. The B flat here, and they don't point out the D flat in the last measure, but that's a blue note too. Because it's blues style, I'm going to swing the 8th notes. I do in a blues style. You don't have to all the time. There may be a note written. Play it, evenly. When they're saying play the music as written, that doesn't mean play them evenly. That means play all the notes, don't change anything there. So I can still do a blues style and play it as written. Now in the second measure, they want 3rd finger on the B flat, because normally you'd play it with 2nd finger. But they want 3rd finger on it because you play the last note with your 4th finger, the C. You need 3rd finger for the next measure on the B natural, and that way you can do that. So don't have to. I could play it the B flat with 2nd finger. The important thing is to put the 4th finger on the C, because I need 3rd finger for the B natural in the next measure. So I could do that too. Now you got 2 little dots there above the B flats in the 1st and 3rd measures. There's a note underneath the stabs explaining that blue note, that B flat, is a blue note. Part of the blues scale. It's normally, this is the scale for G, but for a blues scale built on G, it's here. So you've got blue notes, and they're simply telling you here in the B flats that each time it's played it resolves or leads to a B natural. So let's try this out. Downtown together. 4/4 time will give us 4 counts. Let's play it twice because it is repeated. We're going to go slow, and I'm going to swing the 8th notes. You can play them evenly if you want to. So hands, where do they go? Here, here, okay. 1, 2, and ready, and go, and... 2. What they've done here is they're giving you the notes for the left hand from the previous step, the 1 chord and the 4 chord. I don't really know why they're giving you these. They're used in step 3 and they were used in step 1, but I don't know why they're giving you by themselves. Unless you want to just improvise a right hand everything, whatever. They're not saying to do that. They're just saying it's the left hand notes. So I'm not going to do a play with me on this. We don't need it. We just played them for step 1. So going to go on to step 3. In step 3, they want you to take a look at the melody in step 1. This bit, well, you had to take a look at it when you played it, right? So we've done that. Cool. In measures 1 and 3, that B flat is a blue note. We've already covered that. And in measures 2 and 4 on step 1, they're notes within the 5-note scale, blue scale. These notes. So one of these notes is the only note. We're not using them all. We're not using the D, but we're using these. You improvise measures 3 and 4 on step 3 using repeat. In other words, you can play the other measures again. Retrograde, which means you play them backwards. 8/8, which means you're playing them in a different location in the keyboard somewhere. Or any tones in the blues scale, any of these. The only rule is at the very end. You have to end on a G. Because that's the root, the tonic of this G scale. So you end on a G. So let's go through these real slowly, just to make sure we understand what's going on, because they want you to improvise. And again, we're building up our library of patterns when we want to improvise. These are things we can do. And so we just have to practice these over and over and over. If I want to do a repeat, I'm just going to play these 2 measures again. So I would play the 4 measures in step 3. I'm just going to do the right hand. It's here. I'm just going to play them again if I repeat it. The rule is the last note has to be a G. I can't end on a B flat. It's got to be G. So either I play the G again, or if I play the B, I got to go down to a G. Or I could do that too. Oh. The second measure to improvise or to repeat it, or something like that. Or I just got to end on a G is what I'm after. Now if I play them a different octave, it doesn't matter. It's just, and I could play one measure one way and another measure another. Depends on how much I want to jump around and whatever. I could also change the left hand and move it. You experiment. The idea is you can play it at different parts of the keyboard. You're not stuck in one area. Then they're saying retrograde. Did we already do retro? No, we didn't. I skipped it. Shame on me. Oh, retrograde, I'll just play them backwards. So in the first measure, rather than here, starting here, I'm going to just read the notes backwards. I'm going to play the G, and then that's playing them backwards. So it's G, B flat, or B natural, B flat as 8th notes, and then a B natural, and then the last note is a D. I did them backwards. It's just another way of improvising. After a while, you'll get accustomed to reading it backwards, and you'll be like, hey, I can, no problem. Plus, I could do that on a different octave. I don't have to do it there. Wherever. Then the second measure is a B flat. Remember the B flat at the beginning of the measure carries through, so it's a B flat, G, and then a B flat, C, 8th notes. But the last note has to be a G. So rather than going back to the B, I'm going to play a G, or I can do the G and then a B as 8th notes. So it's that way. I just have to play a G on the last note. And those are the different ideas you can do, or you can make up your own. Just whatever, just play these notes somewhere. Use these notes here. Now above each measure in step 3, we have the little notes. Blue blues scale. Blue notes, blues scale. That's just to help you out in this little exercise. Other than that, it doesn't mean anything. It's just telling you in the first measure you're using blue notes, the B flat. In the second measure, you're using notes in the 5-note blues scale because they've got a C in there too. All these notes are in that scale, and that's what they're doing. So they're telling you in the third measure, use blue notes. Well, if you use a variation of the first measure, you're doing that. And in the second, the last line, they're telling, or the last measure, I'll get there. They're telling you to use the blues scale. But again, if you use some variation or change from the second measure, you're going to use notes in the blues scale. So to me, those notes up above are nice to know, but that's about it. So what we're going to do on this play with me is we're going to play it twice, and I'm going to play it exactly as it's written, except I'm going to swing the eighth notes. I'm not going to play anything in the right hand for the last two measures of each time we play it. You add in, do what you want, just slowly. We'll go real slow. It takes time to experiment and build this stuff up. So give us 4 counts, and let's do this. So here, 1, 2, ready, go, and. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. Repeat. 4 off. Now there is an acoustic jamming at the bottom of this. I'd like to do this, and you go ahead and do step 3 again and do your improvising. I'm going to speed this up now to a little faster, so work this out first with your improvise. Know what you want to do, and I am going to play it. We're going to do 8 measures. You're going to repeat it, and we'll play it together. So go ahead and start your hands here. I'll give us 4 counts, so let's do this together. 1, 2, and ready, and go. And 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2. Repeat.